Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you for joining us for the 89th episode of Turf Today on the Superintendent Network. And this podcast is brought to you by the Toro Company. And on today's episode, we feature John Lamoureux, who runs down a little history and fun around Augusta. And we are very, very grateful to have brought on the Ontario boys. It's a very fun interview, and we hope you guys get a lot out of that. And we certainly hope that their lives and their careers keep heading in the right direction, because they have quite the story. So let's kick things off here with local friend of the show, John Lamoureux, who joined me at my shop for a little chat. And he brought me a Masters flag, actually the 2019 Masters flag, which was the last year Tiger won it. So thank you, John. That was very special.
So I guess to begin, I started playing golf when I was super young, probably like 5-6 years old. My father was teaching me. And then, when high school hit, you're like 15, 16, got away from it, started playing hockey, football in high school, concentrating on that. And then, of course, the 86 Masters is on, and it's Sunday afternoon, and back then they only started showing the back nine, right? It came on around, I think, 3 or 4 o'clock, but it was only like you were maybe caught number 9, but it's usually number 10 tee. So I hear my father screaming in the basement. So I run down, I'm like, you okay? He goes, Jack's like 2 off the lead. And he's playing the back nine, and he's playing great. I'm like, okay, so maybe I'll watch with you. Well, he was up screaming after and Nicholas shoots 30 on the back, or 31, right? To win the tournament. And and my father was a huge Jack Nicklaus fan. So that got me thinking about golf again, got the bug again. And a buddy of mine started watching watching the Masters every year from 86 on, right? And then I got the bug and started playing more, and then got back into golf. And that's how I got into this industry, right? In the first place, this is actually my 30th season. I started at Emerald Links in 1995. So that was, 30 years ago. So that 86 Masters, and then I try not to miss the Masters with my dad every Sunday. We've missed a couple over the years, but that's a tradition that we try and hold. If I'm not watching with him, I'm watching it with someone. I'm in my basement, and sometimes I prefer watching it by myself, because you know what happens inevitably, right? Someone hits the remote and changes the channel, or you miss something, or someone's in your ear. But so I look forward to it every year, and people in the Ottawa region love it too, because it's kind of like the start of spring, and golf is getting around the corner, and people get excited. And I often wondered how many people take up the game after watching the Masters for their first time, and hey, maybe we'll try golf or get out and play. But so that's kind of where the love for this golf course and the tournament kind of started. But back to when I got to go, so I was working at the Marshes, and right after building the golf course, they had purchased a full fleet of Club Car, and Club Car obviously made down in Augusta. Same with Easy Go, their plants are there. So our carts all came from Augusta, and the owner was given some tickets to go to practice rounds in 04. So I wasn't originally on the trip. There were 6 guys going. Phil Auger, one of them, and Vince Carbert, the pro, and some other guys. But someone had to back out at the last minute, and they called me they were leaving Sunday. I think they called me on Friday. Do you want to go to the Masters? I'm like, no. What do you think, right? So whirlwind tour. We got 2 practice round days, so Monday and Tuesday. And so we flew out of Ottawa, and it was a run to get there, because we booked late. The flights were booked really last minute. So I think we had to fly Ottawa, Newark, Atlanta, and then rent a car. And then it's about an hour and a half or 2 hours to Augusta. And of course, so the boys, last minute, they booked this hotel on Washington Boulevard, right? Maybe a kilometer from the course. And it's a Night's Inn, right on the highway, right on, I think it's Interstate 20 and Washington Road. And So the nights in like 51 weeks of the year, it's like $25 a night. That 1 week for Augusta, it's like $189 a night, right? So we pull into this place and it's a complete dive. You know, it's Sunday afternoon, like 5, 6 p.m. So we get in our rooms and the boys are like, well, we need to go get some pints. So walk across the street. There's a 7-Eleven there. I walk in. I go over to the coolers. All the coolers are locked. There's chains around the doors. And I'm like, can we get some beer? He goes, Dry County. So back in the early 2000s, I'm not sure if it's still like this, but that county was a dry county on Sundays. So you couldn't get beer till midnight, until the clock rolled to the next day. It's 6 p.m. So we're like, okay, we need to do something about this. So like someone said, well, we passed a Hooters on the way by. Let's go to Hooters. So we walked down the street to Hooters. And who's in the parking lot? John Daly's in the parking lot with his RV, playing his guitar. Anyways, we go and have a meal, have some wings, a couple of pints. And then we get back to our room and it's like 11:15 or something. I look at Phil. Phil, we got to wait till midnight so we can go get some beer, right? He goes, yeah. So we wait till midnight, get some beer. And then the next morning we're all giddy and it's a beautiful morning. It's like, actually back up. So that year it was hot and dry leading up to that Masters in 04. And I remember watching on the Monday, the guys practicing and the putting, and the greens were like mint, right? And they're probably rolling 14, 15, right? This is Monday. And we listened to Masters radio that night, and Tiger's talking. He's like, if we don't get rain by Sunday, these greens will be unplayable. Now, Augusta has a lot of control on what happens, right? Obviously, you can raise the height or start syringing more or back off on the rolling or the double cutting, but they were that firm. And of course, it poured on Wednesday, and the course just kind of slowed down. And that was the year that Mickelson won, right? So anyways, so it was a great experience for the first time, but something really strange too. As we were walking to the golf course, there's guys selling tickets like crazy, like practice round tickets, $25, $30, $40. And I'm like, I was always told this was the hardest ticket to get, right? Getting the tickets down there, and now they've probably backed off on the scalpers. Like that's probably not a thing anymore, but I'm not sure. But back then it was just hard because you needed a place to stay. So you could get tickets in like all sorts, but you had to fly there. You had to find a place to stay. And like I said, nights in like 200 US a night, right? It was crazy. So anyways, that was kind of cool. So we walked around all day Monday. We walked around all day Tuesday. And then we left, I think, Wednesday morning. We were going to go and try and maybe get a ticket and go see the par 3, but the flight was like at noon and we still had to drive. So we got out of there. And anyways, it actually rained on the Wednesday, and I think they closed the course that day for play. So
Turf Today is brought to you by Toro. If good things come in threes, Toro is nailing it because they're focused on the 3 big areas that everybody is talking about: alternative power, autonomous technology, and smart digital tools. Toro has battery-powered mowers that can run all day long. Their GeoLink technology makes spraying so accurate, there's virtually no overlap. And their IntelliDash platform makes it easy to track course conditions in real time. Want to see what's next? Follow Toro on Instagram and on X, and know that Toro is always solving and always evolving.
Monday night, we're looking for a place to eat, and Vince Carbert had run into someone he knew down there. Vince was from the Minden area or Penetanguishene, and he ran into somebody new, and the guy said, you got to go to Reinhardt's Oyster Bar. So we're like, all right, we're game for anything. Let's go. So this place, I guess it's a caddy haunt. It's where all the caddies go because they can't get into the fancy places where they don't have the money maybe to get in, right? So we're like, all right, this is a perfect place to hang out. So it's maybe like a 5-minute cab ride down west or northwest of Augusta National. So we get to this Reinhardt's, and it's literally like gravel floor, picnic tables, but it's packed Monday night. And the first person we see sitting at like the first table with about maybe 10 gin and tonics around him is Fuzzy Zeller, smoking a cigar, him and his caddy and another guy. And they're holding court. Everybody's around them, chatting about the golf tournament and stuff. And we're like, this is our place. And the beer's super cheap and the food's awesome, right? So we stayed there for a couple of hours and then back to the hotel. And then day 2 comes. So we get to day 2 and I see one of the pairings. Weir was practicing on his own. So we were able to go and follow around Mike Weir. And back then you could walk pretty much anywhere. Like they had roped off areas where, like across number 15, you were supposed to walk across there, but the ropes weren't even up. And so I have pictures of taking Weir's like third shot on 15 on the practice round from like 10 yards behind him and his caddy, Brendan Little. And he's talking about the shot and trying to decide what wedge to hit. And we're like, this is crazy. Like we're at Augusta, we're walking around that close to the players, right? So it was kind of neat. But so then Tuesday, we did kind of the same thing and walked around a bit more. And then, we got kind of left the next morning. But wow, what a place. I mean, from the minute you walk there and the minute you walk on the property, like I remember Phil and I looking down at the grass going, wait a second, is this AstroTurf? Like we didn't even think it was real. Like it was that vivid and lush and manicured and right. And it's ryegrass, like watered and fertilized to the hilt, and it's like perfect. Right. And it was quite an oasis. But and that afternoon, Phil and I actually took a walk down to the par 3 course. Nobody down there, just some security guards and a few people walking around because they're not playing until Wednesday, right? And we're on the first green. We're just checking out how small the green was because the greens on the par 3 are all like 3,000 square feet, maybe, right? 1,800, like super small. So we're walking, we're going, look how small this green is. Then we hear a security guard, hey, you guys, get the hell off the green. We're like, oh, sorry. We're both superintendents. We understand. We're just checking out the turf and stuff. And so that was kind of funny. But what a memorable place. So I get excited around this time of year and try and catch as much as I can of the golf course and see who's in contention on Sunday. And anything can happen, right? Like look what happened to Norman. He was up by 8-9 shots to Faldo in 96, I think it was, or 95, and loses, right? And he's been second there a bunch of times, actually. So it's funny they never won there, but such a good player. So in 03, my brother went, him and his wife, and this is a cool story. They walked around all day and they're looking for a place to eat. So across the street, maybe down a bit from the gates, there was a bar called Somewhere in Augusta. And so they're like, let's go there. So they go over there and they've got like TVs everywhere and like almost like bleachers and stuff. And people are watching the golf and the highlights. And in front of my brother, there's a fellow with a Canadian logo on the back of his hat. So my brother taps him on the shoulder. Where are you from? He goes, well, I'm originally from Alberta, but I work on the golf course. My brother's like, you work at the golf course? He goes, yeah, I'm one of the assistants. I'm like, you need to talk to my brother because my brother's an assistant up in Canada. You guys need to connect, right? So the guy's name was Lydell Mack. He was one of the assistants at Augusta, and they have like probably, 6, right? But he was there at the time. But he's a Canadian kid. So my brother gets his email. So when I found out I'm going, I emailed him right away. I'm like, Lydell, I'm actually coming down. Are you around? He goes, yeah, you'll find me. This is I think I had a cell phone, but you can't bring them in, right? So he goes, just ask someone and they'll find me. So sure enough, day 2, I'm walking. I'm coming up number 18, between 9 and 18, watching the play. And I see a kid with a bunker rake wearing like the coveralls. And I'm like, hey, buddy, do you know where Lydell Mack is? He goes, he's walking right there. So I run up, grab him. I'm like, Lydell, it's John, blah, blah, blah. We talk. Yeah. You want to take a tour? He goes, yeah. He goes, well, I'm just walking back to the shop. I'll take you and Phil there. And you can go through the whole shop and check out the grounds of the shop and everything. And I'm like, this is unreal. So we walk all the way to 2T. And behind 2T, there's like a little gate that nobody really sees, and cut through the fence, like cut through the shrubs and the whatever the gate is there. And he's like, yeah, come on in. So we open the gate and and now we're at the shop, and it's amazing, right? There's a green in the center of and a practice bunker for them doing their fertilizer testing and walk mowing training and stuff. And there's like a full on gas station. Anyways, it's just it's what you'd think it would be. Like lines of tractors and equipment. And so we got the tour around there. And then he took us for a whole tour of the whole back 9 and talked about the golf course. And it was funny because anytime he got close to someone he knew, he wouldn't say too much. He was trying to keep things tight to his chest, not to disclose anything because they're pretty tight on their information, right? But a lot of it gets out over the years, but then we start to learn stuff. So that was kind of neat to get a behind-the-scene look of the golf course. And so he left. He worked there for about another 10 years, Lydell, and I think he's the super at it's a place called the Canoe Club in Atlanta. So he's been there, but he might be like in his early 40s now or mid 40s. So crazy. One thing he was saying, those walkways that go across that get completely obliterated. A lot of them I think have sub air under them, so they try and make that as dry as possible so it doesn't destroy it. But inevitably it's done, right? So they cut that out and resaw it every year with new turf. They've got 18 truckloads come in because it's probably about a truckload to go across those, like 60, 70, 80 yards wide, some of these fairways, right? So that all gets replaced. The bent, I know back at the time, they were just starting to develop those A and G series, so I don't know if they were still Pen Links or Pen Cross, but they were probably starting to, interbreed with some of the newer strains of that Pen A1 and or A4 or G. I can't remember exactly what Augusta's seeded to, but it's just unbelievable, like how tight things are around the greens too, and everything's manicured. And like we watched a young lad on the Monday. Like I said, it was super hot, so they were syringing in the afternoon, and the kid hooked up his hose between play and literally walked across the green in about 30 seconds, and that was it. And we're like, that's a syringe. Like it was just like a light mist thing, cool the canopy, get out of there, right? Because they were doing it amongst play too, right? But what else about the turf? I mean, a lot of people don't know, but they tarp the bunkers in the summer. As soon as the course closes, those bunkers all get tarped, so nothing falls in them. Or when they're overseeding with the rye in the fall, like they're not spreading rye everywhere. So opposite of us, we tarp all winter, they tarp all summer. So it's kind of neat to see that. Now for this year, I know that the Hurricane Helene, I think, that went through, there was some damage. So that I haven't seen too many reports on what trees are down, but someone talked about maybe some trees behind 11 that were some specimen pines that are kind of the backdrop behind 11. They're gone. So I don't know if they've replanted. Like it's hard to say. Like they do stuff pretty fast there, right? So, but just the length now, I think they're maxed out. Like where else can they go? I was looking at a map this morning. Like it's playing at 75, 55. They've lengthened 13. Like there's no room behind 2 to lengthen that. Like they're kind of getting landlocked, right? So at what point do they start overpowering this golf course? But it still seems to be, it doesn't matter if they shoot 15 under or 2 under, it's still a joy to watch, right? And scoring on those par 5s, like, I mean, let's face it, that's where you win the tournament, right? The par 4s are so hard, and most of the 3s are very difficult. Like 4 is like 235, I think it's playing this year, like par 3. Difficult hole, right? So if you want to talk a bit about Alistair McKenzie, so that was like basically almost his last design. I think he did one more after that, and then he passed before the Masters even started. I think he died in early 34, and then the first tournament was in April 34. So he didn't even see his outcome. And the 9s were reversed. Like they used to start on 1, and I think they changed them because of frost. They get a lot of heavy frost on which was then 1 green, 2 green, 3 green, like 12 down in the Race Creek and Amen Corner was frosty. So they always got delayed. Whereas 1, 2, well, 2's down low too, but like 1, 3, 4, they're up higher, right? So maybe the frost, it was a little bit, they were able to play those holes, and then the frost would lift by the time you got to 5 and 6 kind of thing, right? So that's why they were reversed. But his routing plan is still there. But there's been so many changes by so many architects, and there's so many to list. Like Perry Maxwell did a lot of stuff early on after McKenzie died. He tweaked a bunch of stuff, and they got rid of bunkers and moved bunkers, and he had horseshoe greens. Like number 9 used to be a horseshoe green with a bunker in the middle, so that's all changed to what it is now, the 3-tier. So you can see a lot of old photos, and stuff has changed. They're ever evolving, right? They never really like not do anything. Like I know. They changed a bit on number 2. I think they enlarged the center back portion of that green to accept the shots more, so it wouldn't go left or right. Because if you try to get on in 2 and the pin's front right, well, it's a difficult shot. If you hit it, front left, you've got a very tricky putt, right? 4, they expanded. 7, I think they made it bigger, which is crazy because when I walked up the 7 green and stood beside the green, I was like, this is crazy. That green's like 3,500 square feet. Surrounded by 5 bunkers, elevated. It's 450. Now, they don't seem to have a problem with 7 unless they hit it left or right and they're behind a tree and they got to knock it out and wedge on. But it's one of the easier par fours, but I just find that green is so small. Like you stand beside it and you're going, wow, like how do they hit the screen? And it's perched, right? So there's some tricky putts. The traditional pin placement front right on the Sundays usually there, which is fun to watch. But the par fives, like, what do you say? 2-8, and then 13. 13 might be the best golf hole in the world, right? Like the drama that's come out of that hole over the years, right? Like Mickelson shot that year that he won, that shot from behind the tree. Yeah, and walking down there, it's surreal because you can't really get across to the other side of those holes. Like once you finish walking down the number 10, you have to stay to the right of 11. You can't get anywhere near 12 except near the green or the tee. And then you got to skirt the whole right side of 13, and then you kind of come back up 14. You're landlocked. And there's a lot of landlocks there where you're walking down. I think it's number 2. We went down the left side to start, and you end up at a dead end. And you can get over to 9 to see stuff, but then you're like, I wanted to go to 3T, but you got to go all the way around. Now there might be a walkway now, but this was back then. And then 15, 16, the finish is amazing, right? Like. It's just, it's one of those tournaments. It's the only major that's held at the same spot. So I get excited about the golf course every year rather than the actual tournament. Like whoever wins, right? Unless I'm in a pool, then I'm looking for my guy. But most of the time I'm just watching it for the tournament, for the course. Whereas, US Open, it goes to great golf courses, but it's usually like they're trying to beat the crap out of these guys, right? Whether growing the rough, narrowing the fairways. So it becomes like a bit of a bomber that wins that. Whereas Augusta, I mean, look at the last, I saw a stat, the last 30 years, well, since Mike Weir won in 04, so actually the last 20 years, 6 lefties, right? So Weir, Bubba twice, and Mickelson 3 times. And I read a bit of a story on it. They're saying that because of a lot of the dogleg lefts, the guys that cut the ball now are struggling, whereas a lefty that can cut the ball shapes it around the corner, right? A lot of those holes bend right to left. So they're thinking that's one of the reasons why. But now the guys are getting so good because look at Scheffler. He hits a big cut and he's won it twice, right? So it comes down to your second shot, that golf course. Like you can be all over off the tee, but like Nicholas, high ball, like could hit a 1 iron and a 2 iron, like into those greens on the par 5s and land it soft, right? So he was a magician at it. And so anybody Morikawa's like one of the best iron players, Schauffele, like Rory's due to win there. Like so it's gonna be fun to watch. It's lining up to be a good week. Now I've heard that it's been super hot down there this week, but then there's a storm coming through, I think this weekend, and it's supposed to cool down and get to like 18, 19, 20 degrees and then off and on rain, but good conditions, but not hard and fast like you'd want it to be, right?
And now it's time for another installment of Ask the Agronomist, presented by the Andersons. From tee to green, goal to goal, and shoots to roots, nothing is off limits.
We are back with another question for PhD agronomist Ben Pease. Now, our question today comes in from Dan Smith. How does humic acid help turf?
So good question, Dan. Loaded one, because if you've been following the Andersons or following any of the talks that I give, it's usually a component of what most of our items is humic. So a lot of things going on with humic in relation to turf grass. We've done quite a bit of research over the past decade or so on how humic affects the turf grass plant, how it affects the growth, looking at ways to add humic to fertilizer programs, to decrease the overall need for nitrogen. That's what most of the trials are showing, that if you're adding in the humic acid component to your fertility program, either granular or liquid, you can reduce the amount of nitrogen you need to apply. But then you're not sacrificing turfgrass color or quality. We don't see any drop off in either of those, even if you reduce your nitrogen rate by 25 to 30%. And so how this basically gets accomplished is that humic acid helps improve the soil organic matter content of the soil. that allows for higher nutrient holding capacities and sometimes better nutrient availability. So the nutrients that we're applying aren't getting lost to the soil system. They're staying available. They're being held in the soil organic matter where the plants can get to them. So that's how you can increase your nitrogen use efficiency or increase your phosphorus use efficiency just by having those nutrients stay more available. And all these trials that we've done, we've measured things like root growth or parameters of root growth, so root length, root branching. There's computer programs that even count the number of root hairs that are almost invisible. And they make all these sorts of calculations, tell you how the overall length of roots, and really good data points. But basically, we're encouraging better root growth. We're encouraging more detailed root growth. And so there's just more overall potential interactions in the soil with nutrients. If you got more roots flying around, you're going to just even run into more nutrients as the plant is growing. So that also contributes to higher nitrogen use efficiency and phosphorus use efficiency. And another thing that humics do is help acidify the soil. So humics will activate the roots to push out more exudate. So that's what they're pushing out as the roots are growing through the soil to help kind of, for lack of a better term, lubricate to get them through the soil. And then this exudate will actually acidify the rhizosphere. They are right around the root or the root hair. And that's where all of our exchange is going to happen anyway. So if we've got higher pH soils where nutrients aren't available or less available, and we can acidify just that rhizosphere, that's all the difference that there needs to be made. So we get better overall usage of the nutrients that we're applying through improved rooting and improved root growth. And so we're just sustaining the same turfgrass color or quality that you're used to, but we're using less nitrogen.
So Ben, I asked you this when we were talking a lot about phosphorus, so I'll ask you the same kind of question. Can you over apply with humic products?
Yeah, you could over apply. You're not going to see any damage to the turf system. But really, if you think about soil organic matter, we're thinking 3 to 5% of the overall soil system. So we don't need to apply tons and tons of this per acre to actually get an effect. If we're only looking to go after 3 to 5% of the soil solution, and we're only really wanting to affect an even smaller percentage of that, we're just adding, if we add a small percentage of humic acid to the soil system, we're getting the job done. So if you look at our humic coated urea, that's 2% humic acid. So even 2% humic acid makes a big difference in nitrogen use efficiency. So while you can't over apply it, there is a tipping point where you're throwing money where it doesn't need to go. So many of the products have the correct percentage built in. So, but if you're applying it as a separate application, you feel free to stick to the labeled rates, because while you can't over apply, you're not going to get the benefits as if you had just stuck to the recommended rates.
So a little bit goes a long way. That's awesome.
Yep. That are interested in some further information, we've got a really good humic acid research guide on the website that goes through all those trials and goes through a lot of the data. So you can download that if you like from the andersonspro.com website. And then we're also doing a webinar with our friends at Turf and Rec, and that'll be in mid-April. And the topic is carbon and soils and soil health, and humics pull into that very, very well. So if you're looking for more info, seek out that research guide or join us for that webinar.
That should be a really good one. Well, thanks a lot again for this, Ben. This wraps up another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring Dr. Ben Pease from the Andersons.
It's pretty rough.
My bad, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
That's crazy, man. So
Yeah.
Are you walking okay or what?
No, I'm not walking okay.
Oh no.
No, like literally, I dove for this ball 2 minutes before. I'm telling all the other dads that were playing that I'm are on my team. We're playing against our kids who are all 13 whatever years old. And I told them, like, guys, don't dive over in this area because there's literally concrete like an inch or two underneath the sand. And of course, 2 minutes later, I dive for a ball. and come up and I'm just gushing blood, so I
Oh,
go in the salt water to rinse it all out. But yeah, it's shredded. No, I'm not walking very well. I'm not doing anything very well. So I think I'm supposed to play golf next week. So we'll see how it impacts the golf swing.
Oh my gosh, that's exciting. Just even talking about getting to play golf again. That's fun. But yeah, hopefully
Yeah,
a speedy
man.
recovery. That's never fun getting hurt on vacation, but hopefully that helped you slow down a little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna help me slow down. All right. What have you been up
Pretty
to?
we just been working,
Yeah,
burning wood on the golf course, and we
nice.
had our new dog out on the course today. We hired this lady and her dog, border collie.
Cool.
Unbelievable. Like they're the smartest animals. Like this, she's got this thing so well trained. It's such a very gentle dog when it's around people, but then she brings it out on the course and it's just ripping around, chasing the geese and the different animals and stuff. Oh my gosh. So it was cool to see the different training and things that she was doing. And then she takes the drone out and she's flying the drone around a couple different areas, checking out the course, and she brings it back to where the dog is and it crashes on the pond and the pond's frozen.
No.
Yeah, so she comes up to me and my super, and she's just like, how thick's the ice? You think I can walk out there?" And we're just like, maybe not." And then we're thinking, well, she's like, the dog could go and get it, and we're just looking at each other like, yeah, right. And she's just like, I think he's not that much heavier than the geese, and the geese are out there right now, so I'm gonna let him go. So the dog takes off across the pond, and all the geese start flying everywhere. And then the dog comes back to her, and she kind of like, go retrieve, go retrieve. Dog runs out, grabs the drone, brings it right back to her. We're all like,
No
yeah, that's
way.
awesome.
Oh, did you record that?
Yeah, we got it. I posted on Turf today.
Oh, did you? I haven't
Yeah.
seen it
Oh
yet.
yeah,
I've been
it was pretty exciting. I didn't get the ending of it because we were all running around, jumping around, and celebrating and everything. But just I got a good video of him ripping across the pond and grabbing it.
That's awesome. I've been out of it. I haven't kept up as much as I should while I was on vacation, so I gotta circle back and catch up.
It's tough sometimes when we post 5 to 7 times a day. You leave it alone for a couple days and you got a lot to come back to.
I know, I know. Yeah, there's so much going through the emails and everything. I love vacation, don't get me wrong, but it's tough, you need a day or two just to recover and get caught up on everything you miss. We got home at midnight last night and got up at 7 and started working and yeah, yeah. Anyways, everyone knows what that's like
Yeah,
trying to catch
exactly.
up and yeah. The boys are all starting to load on here.
How's it going?
Liam, how are you, buddy?
Good. How are you guys?
Not too bad. So you guys were
Outstanding.
originally going to be all together and decided to separate, or things changed?
Yeah, I think we were just at practice, and then I think we had some stuff to do, so we kind of just spread out a bit.
Like some
Nice.
studying and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what grades are you guys in? How far along are you right now?
I'm in my final year actually, so
Outstanding. Outstanding. How about you,
Yeah,
Caleb?
I'm in my third year, just one more to go.
One more to go.
Almost
Outstanding.
there.
And what are you guys studying?
I'm in accounting.
I'm real estate.
Okay, so different stuff. We weren't sure if any
Yeah,
of you
yeah.
guys were into turf at all, because I know it's obviously Guelph's such
Couple
a
guys
big
on
turf
the
grass.
team.
Yeah, they do both. Double dip. That's sick. I love that. I know we were texting with Matty Rodrigue a little bit, and I was like, feed me some info about these guys and give me some ammunition, but he didn't have anything for me. So
Who was that? Sorry, Nate.
Matty Rodrigue, I don't know.
Oh,
He works to he goes to your school and does the turf grass program. So I think he knows somebody who knows you guys or something like that. You're connected somehow.
Yeah, he knew our friend Nate on the golf team.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he knows Nate. There you go. That's the connection.
Yeah, yeah. So Nate was like, "Hey boys, this guy's reaching out, and we're more than happy to come on here." So
Sweet. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
It's awesome to have you guys
Appreciate you
on.
guys doing this. We're still waiting on one more.
I'm not sure.
He's probably
What
just
you-
doing his hair, eh? That beautiful lettuce he has.
Nothing new from him. He's always late.
That's all right.
We all have
No
that one
worries.
friend, right?
I think he's beat me to something maybe twice in the whole year.
That's how it goes
Yeah.
with the team.
I'm also usually a bit later too, and he seems to be just after me every time.
Just wait till you get married, then you're always late.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I find myself constantly waiting on my wife, and we always show up. We call it Lauren time. We show up 15 minutes late to everything.
That's funny.
Yeah, yeah, it's so great. I like
Fashionably late.
I grew up with the you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. That's always been my motto. So
Yeah, that's
trying
how it
to
works at the
adjust to that
course.
change. Exactly, exactly. So how was practice this morning, guys? You getting ready for the season?
Yeah, yeah. Well, our season's actually kind of over, but we have nationals. That's kind of the
Uh-oh.
last thing for us because we finish at the end of October.
So where do you guys play your tournaments then?
We play all over Ontario, September
Okay.
to October, and then our national championships in Kamloops, BC this year, actually.
Oh, that'll be nice. It's kind of
So
wild that you guys play all season and then sit all summer and then have national championships after that.
yeah, yeah, it's actually tough because we're competing against all the schools out west, and they golf like they play in the I think it's called NIA or something down south. So they're playing all year round. They're playing tournaments all year round, and we kind of come back in the spring and have 4 months to prepare, and we're like off all winter. So like,
Yeah,
and
hitting
I'm the
on
type of guy that needs to like relearn how to golf every single spring. Like
yeah.
I need to play 8 hours a day to make sure that I'm up to shape. So
You take a day off and it takes 2 or 3 days just to recover from that one day off, right?
yeah, yeah,
Teach yourself
exactly.
how to do it again.
No days
That's
off. That's
Yeah, dude, that's nuts. So then are you guys outside right now? You guys thawed out
oh
enough up
no,
there?
no,
No? You guys
no.
indoor practice now or what?
Yeah, yeah. We actually, this is the first year because I've been on the team the last 4 years, and this is the first year in the winter. Like usually we don't do really anything in the winter, but this is the first year we're partnered with like a sim lounge, so
Oh,
we
cool.
practice 3 days a week, which is pretty nice. They let us play there, kind of whenever
Nice.
we want. So it's nice to keep up the swing a bit, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and
that's
keep the
great.
boys together too, right? Like you guys are a team.
exactly.
Most of the teams are always doing everything together, so you guys need to be together.
Yeah, yeah, and then we have team workout too. So it's like we're together like pretty much 5 days a week, which is nice because I like when I was in first year, we would like end the season in October. It's like, oh, I'll see you next year. So it's been nice to see a bit of growth in the program at least the last few years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I guess are you guys just gonna start
There you
recording
go.
as soon as
There we
Sorry about
go.
that, guys.
Yeah. No, you're good. Adam's recording,
Right.
so we're we're
Oh
we're
yeah,
good to go
we're
and he'll
always
chop it
recording
all
around
up.
here.
Yeah. Yeah. We try and fool you so when you come on you say something really silly and we've got that, and usually we use that for some sort of blackmail against a lot of the superintendents so we can go play the golf courses. But I don't know. We'll have to figure something else out. Maybe accounting services and real estate services. We'll
Yeah,
see.
exactly.
We'll see what happens. But well, welcome to the show, boys.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having us.
No,
Yeah.
of course. So you guys are now the world famous Ontario boys. You guys have had quite a run. If you don't mind, just dig in and kind of give us some of the backstory.
You want to lead us off? Pat kind of orchestrated the whole beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it was a pretty crazy story. Like I just kind of woke up Saturday morning and, I was looking through Twitter and then I saw Monday Q's post and he was giving away tickets to the players. So I thought I'd just comment on the post, see if anything happens. Wasn't really that serious. He responded right away and then he was like, I have 3 tickets for the Sunday. Like, are you interested? So I messaged the team group chat and Fish and Beck were in right away. There were a couple guys on the fence. They are severely regretting it right now.
Oh yeah, that's a
But
tough one to
uh
miss.
but then about 3 hours later, we were in the car and on our way to Florida.
Wow, I
And
heard there was a little bit of a hiccup though, because you're Caleb, you're from Kingston, right? You guys all had to
yeah,
get your passports before getting
yeah.
over the
So
border.
like none of us had our passports. So like back in Liam, they were kind of on the way. So we just stopped in Burlington and Thornhill on the way. But Kingston's obviously 3 hours out of the way. So my girlfriend just drove from Kingston actually to Thornhill, which was pretty nice for me there, but because I don't think we would have gone on that trip. Obviously, I couldn't go without my passport, so we got
She's getting a
lucky in
fancy
that one.
dinner then, eh?
Yeah, I might
Oh
have to
yeah.
do something.
Yeah, because we were
Hey,
like
special.
we were pretty much out. Like I when we were talking for an hour back and forth, and Beck and Pat were kind of like all in, and I'm kind of think logistically a little bit. So I'm like, guys, this is a little bit crazy. Like And then I was like, wait, does anyone even have their passport? And because I usually keep mine at my parents' house, right? Like I'd probably lose it here. So,
Yeah.
and
I,
then Pat doesn't have his, and we're like, oh, I'm like, okay, this is like it's over. Like we're not going. And then I get a text like 2 minutes later. He's like, my girlfriend's gonna meet us. I'm like, oh, I guess I don't really have an excuse not to go now.
I was
That's
kind
kind of
of
my way
peer
out.
pressuring Fish there a little bit. I kept calling him because I knew he was a little bit on the fence, but I knew I could get something out of him, and luckily he came, so that worked out.
Yeah, having three guys is a lot better. So, yeah, how big is your golf team? Could you guys have potentially all gone at the same time?
Yeah, well, we're actually 11 guys, which is pretty big for a golf team. But I think there was only four or five tickets, right, Pat? I think because
I
Pat's
think
message was, "Hey, I have 4 tickets or something."
I think he said there was five, but like he could have got us more if we had more guys, pretty much.
Right, right. Yeah, so it's kind of open-ended to everyone, and I guess no one was crazy enough to go except for the three of us.
That's what happens when you
No
take
one
a
was
chance.
stupid. Yeah.
Or stupid enough. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So you hop in the car on Saturday afternoon, and what time did you guys make it down to Florida?
Yeah, so we got there around I think it was 11:30. And by the time everything was all like we left probably around 5, well we left Guelph around 2:30 on Saturday and didn't get to Florida until 11:30. So the whole trip was pretty much 21 hours and we were pretty tired.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, did you guys mix it up? Did you guys switch drivers frequently, or how'd you manage the trip down?
Yeah, we switched drivers, honestly not as frequently as you'd think. So we always did the two awake, one asleep kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Patty grinded like I want to say what 8 hours of the trip right off
Mhm.
the beginning. So he was pretty zonked by the time it hit 12 o'clock. When I stepped in, it was like the 12 to 4:30 shift in the morning. And then Fish took the lead at the very end there. And then I think Patty actually maybe got the last hour, but yeah, we always had two awake, one asleep, and we just kind of grinded it out.
Yeah, it was tough. Like I'd never pulled an all-nighter really before, but I had like half an hour of sleep up until 8:30 in the morning, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, like my shift kind of sucked because Pat wanted to go to sleep after he had just driven 8 hours. So then I hadn't slept yet because it was only 12 and we were all really excited for the trip. So then I stayed awake with Beck for like pretty much all of his shift till 4:30, except for
We
a
had the monster
minor
energy.
snooze. What's that?
We had the monster energy. That's why you were so wired.
Yeah. And then the 4:30 to 8:30, I was sitting there driving like this next to the fan, having the fan just blow on my face.
I thought he was asleep. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, we got to switch drivers.
Yeah.
So-
Get you out of that seat.
So you guys just go straight from Guelph to the golf course then? When you guys rolled in 11:30, just straight into the course?
Well, that's what we tried to do.
Okay.
We get in the front gates and they're like, "Hey, sorry boys, there's no parking. Like it's all full." And we're like,
Oh,
"Shoot,
no.
we're already in a crunch for time." So we drove to a Dunkin' Donuts down the road, and it seemed like a short drive, but once we started walking, it ended up being about like 4 miles
Oh,
to get to this front of the course. So luckily, there was this lady that ended up picking us up near the gates and taking us the rest of the way, which was pretty awesome.
And they have your tickets at will call then through Monday Q, or how'd you guys get your hands on the tickets?
Yeah, I mean, Ryan pretty much just sent them right to us, and then as soon as we got to the gate, like obviously we just got through the gate, then there were a couple people there started saying like, "Oh, like you guys made it, like congrats" or something. Like they recognized us right when we walked in.
Is that when
Well,
you
they-
guys
they-
realized that
they-
people actually knew who you were and that, you guys were going to be there?
That
Well,
was
they
uh,
didn't
that was
really
definitely the
recognize.
first time because we had the Ontario Boys shirts on, like kind of just as a joke, like like why not? But we didn't think people would actually come up to us and start taking pictures and like people actually recognized us.
That's so cool. Did you guys just stop at a Walmart and grab some shirts and some Sharpies and just write Ontario Boys?
That's exactly what happened.
Oh, that's
We're
awesome.
like, guys, we're late, but we need to do this.
Yeah, exactly. There might be somebody there who knows who we are, or a
Yeah.
bunch of people.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was definitely surprising how many people. I was starting to get embarrassed a little bit, but these two were just loving it.
Nice.
So what was your
Basically,
first destination? You guys get in the gates. Where'd you head?
Straight to Joel Damon because we had heard like Monday Q Ryan had been texting us saying, "Hey, Joel Damon like heard about it. He wants to like say hi to you guys after the round." So we went straight to Joel Damon, and he was on his 16th of the day, but he went off the back, so he was on his seventh hole. So we watched him in, but he bogeyed the last three holes when we were there. So
Oh no.
I think we were bad luck for him.
He was probably thinking about crushing a couple beers with you guys when he got done with the round and just gave up on actually playing. That's nuts. So
Yeah.
I heard it was it Joel that had some beer money for you guys, or is that still got to be kept secret?
oh, I think it's pretty known now. Like we've been on a few interviews and we've kind of just let it be known that Joel gave us the 100, and I hope he doesn't care too much that we have said that. But it was pretty cool for him to like even just chat with us during the fourth round at the Players. Well, he still has a hole remaining. So we were just, we were in shock by that. But I think most people know by now it was Joel David that gave us the 100.
That's pretty
Yeah.
incredible. It's such a beauty move, eh? Like these guys have been grinding for
Oh,
a day and a half
I
here. I'm
know.
just gonna throw them some money. And
It would be Joel Damon.
yeah,
Oh yeah, of
But that's
course.
right.
obviously things progressed from there and the fame kind of picked up. What happened right after the tournament? Because we saw you guys kind of do a few different things after that.
I'm still in shock about it now. The best part is we were kind of hearing about all of this, like as we were walking the grounds of TPC Sawgrass still. So like Ryan was texting us saying, "Hey guys, like I'm trying to organize some golf for you," and like one of the members at Hammock Beach has reached out to me and he wants to cover you guys round. We're like, "What? This is crazy! Like we don't even know this guy and he wants to cover our round. What are we talking about?" And then just one thing kept leading to another. Like he said, "Oh, Hammock Beach, what's it called? The conservatory course."
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
cover. He's like, "Oh, they want to cover your round." So then now out of nowhere, we have 36 holes planned for the next day. And we're kind of like, oh, I guess we're staying for a little longer because we were planning on just driving back maybe the Monday morning, like sleeping in our cars and just going.
Did you guys
Uh,
bring your clubs with you?
we did, yeah. We actually
Wow,
we were
just in case, eh? You never know.
you never know. You never know. So we were maybe thinking about hitting somewhere maybe in Carolina or something on the way home originally, but then
That's
turned
insane.
That worked
turned into
out.
craziness.
Because like originally, because right after, I think it was after the Monday rounds, because at that point we were like exhausted. Like we'd slept maybe 4 hours in 2 days. But then we got the text from Ryan saying like TPC Sawgrass has reached out and they wanted to know if you wanted to play around on Wednesday at Dyes Valley. So like so obviously we're like, okay, that's an amazing course. Like, how do we turn this down? But what are we gonna do Tuesday? So it actually worked out perfectly because about an hour later he texted us that TGL wanted us to come out on the Tuesday night. So the timing all worked out perfectly and it was just unreal.
So go back to your experience during the actual tournament. Sunday afternoon, you guys, obviously they look probably a little bit of a bummer because they teed off early and all that. You may not have been able to see as much golf, but just talk about your experience there on the grounds of TPC Sawgrass.
First thing I'll say is that course is in immaculate condition. Like you see it on TV, but then you walk it in person, you're like, this is insane. So it's just cool even to be on like, I don't know, it's such a kind of renowned known golf course, right? So just being there with the players was awesome. And then they had the rain delay, but we stuck it out and they ended up coming back. So like after the rain delay, it was actually like a really, really nice night. And we kind of parked it between I think it was 15 and 16 because that gave us a great view. 16 is a par five, so you can kind of see everyone's second shots coming in, which was cool to watch. And then we were like kind of near the green, so I find the most fun is watching the pros hit the short game shots. Like it's just you get somewhere that you think, oh, this is trouble, and then they hit it to 2 feet or whatever. So that was pretty cool. And then we also had an amazing view of 17, which is awesome. So it was cool to kind of see that combo and like just watching the pros. They're so unbelievable. Like it's funny because you watch them and you think, oh, this is easy, and then we went out and played, and you're like, oh, I forgot it's not that easy. They make it look so easy, right?
From walking on the grounds to, walking across the fairway to get to another spot. Like we took our time walking across the fairways because we were like touching the grass and stuff. And I will say one thing, when we were following Joel Damon, like we were there for 2 hours, and then we all looked at each other like we all completely forgot about hole 17. Like it didn't even cross our minds that we're at like the most famous golf hole in golf history, and we're not even like thinking about it. So that was pretty funny. We hit the 17th hole when it started pouring on us, just because we thought that was it, because we were gonna go play Hammock Beach the next day. But luckily we got back, and just watching those tee shots on 17 was awesome too. So it was a great experience.
You got any highlights, Caleb?
I think right from when we walked in, it just felt unreal because I looked at the grass and I'm like, this is fake. Like I do not believe this is real grass. So I literally bent down. I started touching it because I didn't believe it. And then just like remembering this is what the pros play on like all the time. And I'm touching the grass to see if it's real. But yeah, I mean it was an amazing course, and like it's so cool to see them up close and just see how good they really are, because you can't even tell on TV just some of the shots they hit and how they flighted, and they're pros. That's what they do.
I've only been to 2 tournaments. Actually, Rory won them both. So I think maybe I'm Rory's good luck charm. But
You guys start
Yeah.
following him around?
yeah, we definitely like Beck's like the biggest Rory fan of all time. So we were following him around a lot. But the green on 17, if you see it in person, like it's basically like a mound in the middle. Like, you don't even fully realize how crazy that green is until you go see it in person. So that's also pretty wild.
It's definitely not a green I want to walk mow. I know that.
Oh
Its
yeah.
edges are a little tight on the corners. I wonder
Yeah.
how many mowers they've dropped in that pond. It's
Yeah.
bad news.
It's tight.
But-
Might be a double cleanup.
Yeah, exactly. Did anyone other than Joel stop you guys? Any other players kind of catch wind of what was going on and say hey?
I mean, we can get into it later, but a couple of the guys that we went and followed, like Shane Lowry, we were standing right next to him when he teed off on 6. Like when we later met him at TGL, we had a conversation with him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I saw you guys." Like, so that was pretty cool. But no one else really. I think they were maybe a little focused on the 4th round of the players. But
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe a little
More
bit.
business.
Hi, it's Matt from Standard Off, and for over a century, Standard Off has set the benchmark in golf course accessories. As inventors and innovators, we design, manufacture, and assemble top quality products proudly made here in the USA to enhance every aspect of your golf course. From tee box essentials like ball washers and tee markers to greens equipment, including cups and flagsticks, and even those custom flags that showcase your course's unique identity. We provide the tools that superintendents trust to elevate the game. Standard Golf, where innovation meets the green.
Did it clear out after that rain delay? Did it clear out from a spectator standpoint? So you guys kind of had free reign, or were there still a lot of people hanging on?
Actually, the security comes up. We waited about 20 minutes because everybody left 17. So we were like in prime position to get like the best spot on 17 to watch, the leaders come in. But then a security guard comes up to us and he's like, "Yeah, like we're kicking everybody out," because they all thought it was done because the rain
Yeah.
just looked horrible and the clouds were pretty brutal. So we actually got kicked out by the security guards from the rain delay, and then we had to walk, 4 miles in the rain back to our car, which of course nobody's nice enough on the way back because we're all drenched.
Yeah.
Nobody
They didn't
wanted
want
to
us
pick
in our
us up
car.
in the Mercedes Benz. So it was that was a tough walk.
but yeah, when we came back, it was there was definitely less people
Yeah.
than before, but it was kind of all concentrated to one area though, because like coming back, there was only I think like 5 groups to finish. So like, and we wanted to follow Rory, so a lot of the guys or a lot of the people were around there, so it was definitely more concentrated, but still way easier to get a good spot, which was nice.
So Beck, I gotta ask you, you guys go to TGL, meet a few of the players, you actually get to meet Rory. What was that like?
Oh man. A lot of words to describe it. So we get there and we're in this like insane Genesis lounge. And we got Justin Thomas' parents beside us, Billy Horschel's family. Like it was just insane. And then I look to my right and this guy, he's standing there and I look to the guys, I'm like, is that Rory McIlroy? But it's just the back of his head. Anyways, he turns around, he's, 10 yards away from us. And I didn't really want to annoy him because, he's like my idol. So I didn't want to, my first interaction with him, he's like, wow, this Beck kid's really annoying. So I kind of was patient with it. And then at the very end of the match, I was telling the guys, I was like, if there's ever a chance to go meet my idol, like it's right now. So we got up from our chairs, we went up and we're like yelling, Rory, like we're over here. And he didn't hear us the first few times. So I'm like, oh man, like he just doesn't care. Right. And then finally turns around and, we tell him, hey, we drove 20 hours to come watch you at the Players. Like, congrats on the victory. And then a huge smile lights up on his face and he goes, no way. Are you guys the Ontario boys?
No
instantly,
way. Nice
instantly, I'm
voice.
just like, I can't stop smiling. Like, I'm like, are you kidding me? You know who we are? And like, I don't want to be that huge fanboy that's like, oh my God, I love you. I love you. But
Yeah. Sign this right
I
now.
flipped that out a few times. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like you're my favorite player of all time. I was speaking really quick to him, but we had a good combo, and I just could keep my smile off my face. Especially, I think the other two boys as well. I know they're not as big of fans as me, but just meeting a guy with like of that caliber was nothing could beat it. Maybe Tiger Woods, but
Beck
Go
was
ahead, Fish.
immediately on the phone with his dad, like 30 seconds after we met, like almost in tears, saying, "Oh, it's my brother."
Have you washed your hands since you shook his hand?
Yeah.
I have. I haven't even changed my underwear.
Yeah. I was gonna say, can we see your right hand? Do you have like a rubber glove on it or something? Just keeping it that way.
Oh,
That's
that's
amazing. So talk about the other interactions. I mean, I saw you guys down on the floor. I think what did Marty interviewed you guys and you got to kind of experience it all there. First, VIP status.
Yeah, like it was again, I still can't like the shock is still there. Like as soon as we pulled into the property, it was hilarious because someone starts flagging us down and Pat was driving and he's just kind of like goes right by him almost. We're like, Pat, I think that guy's trying to talk to us. And then he's like, hey, this is valet. And we're like, oh, valet. Like, we're like, I don't think you want to get in this car though. We've been kind of living out of it for the last bit. So then we get in there, like get set up with the Genesis Lounge, and it was like endless amounts of food. There was there's a fridge with any alcohol that you could want. So, and then it's basically right on field level. So like we're right next to where they go and they say, hey, we're going to take you behind the ropes, like for the players warm-ups. And we're all like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then as soon as we get out to the ropes, I just see a lady lift up the rope and be like, here, come here, guys. So then we're now walking to the middle of the field and no one's out there except for the players, media, and then us. We're like, what's going on? They're radioing, hey, I got the Ontario boys here. Like, we're ready for you. And then Marty Smith walked out. And we're like, oh my God, boys, what is going on? And then Marty's like, oh, hey guys, like, I heard your story. Like, have you met the players yet? And we were kind of jokingly like, oh no, we haven't got around to it, He's like, oh, I'll go get them all. So then he brings all the guys during their warm-ups over to come meet us. And like, we're just biggest smile on our face. And like Billy Horschel, he's like, oh, I saw you guys on Twitter. And like, we couldn't believe it. And it was actually a funny story because we were all shaking hands and Billy Horschel came up, shook our hands, and then started having a conversation with Pat. And then like a few seconds later, JT came up and shook Beck and I's hands and then gestured over to shake Pat's hand. And Pat was kind of mid-conversation with JT, so he didn't really know it, with Billy Horschel. So then JT's sitting there for 5 seconds with his hand out, trying to shake Pat's hand. And Pat hasn't noticed. And we're like, hey, Pat, JT's trying to shake your hand. Like, please go get him.
Oh my gosh. You left him hanging.
It was a little embarrassing, but he was a good sport about it. He thought it was funny. I don't think many people leave JT hanging, so
No.
it might have been something new for him.
I'm like, Pat, we're not that big time yet. Come on.
So did you guys sign all sorts of autographs and everything when you guys are out there, or just take a lot of pictures, or what?
Yeah, just pictures pretty much. Hey boys, just a lot
Just
of
pictures.
pictures.
Honestly, we didn't get a single autograph.
Really?
We were out there, and I think the other guys think this too, but I find pictures are more important than autographs.
Yeah.
Like autographs is for, if you're, quickly walking by, but these guys are wanting to like meet us and shake our hands and, so we didn't really actually ask them for an autograph,
Well,
which
I was wondering more so if people were asking you for autographs when you guys
Oh,
are cruising
us.
around
You guys
everywhere.
signing
Yeah.
autographs.
Yeah.
No
everybody.
autographs from us.
Okay. Okay. Just pictures though.
Well,
We did have a couple people that asked for a picture.
All right, that's
Nice.
good.
there was this one girl at the end. We're talking with Rory, and then right after being done with Rory, she's like, "Oh, can I take a photo with you guys?" And I'm like, "Are you sure you want to take a photo with us?" Like, not that big time. Like Rory's over here if you want to take a photo with him. But yeah, we ended up taking a photo with a few people, but it was pretty funny.
After going to play the couple rounds, you guys realized, okay, we got to go back to school. We got our lives again. What was that like? Where it's like, okay, the dream's sort of ending, but we got to head back to Canada. What was that realization sort of like?
Even right now, I'm still very behind on school.
Oh
So
no.
I'm in a couple group projects, and I will say that the other members aren't too happy with me right now. But I mean, I would do this every time. It was totally worth it, even if I have to grind school a lot for this next week or so. But it was totally worth it. I'd do it every time.
I think the drive on the way back felt a lot longer too. When we knew what we were coming back to rather than coming to the players and all this. So I think we might have been getting on. I think I might have been getting on Beck's nerves a bit by the end of it.
Oh no.
I was getting pretty tired of your folk music, Fish, I'll be honest.
Uh,
'Cause that's one of the beauties of actually going on a road trip, right? Like I know Brian was a college golfer, so he got to kind of live that lifestyle. I was a hockey player, I didn't really do too much golf, but it's got to be very similar, going on road trips and being out with the boys or being out with your teammates. It's big time, right? So you guys, benefit from this trip at all with the camaraderie and just kind of becoming a little bit closer?
oh, I mean, 1,000,000%. Like, I think the drives are, I mean, all the experiences were awesome, but the stories along the way with the drives have been like just hilarious, and it brought the three of us, way closer together. Just having to be able to experience this together, and just the endless memories. Honestly, along the way, it's been. I think we can all agree we pretty much have had a smile on our face, like from the point we left until still now.
Still going.
Yeah. So it's been awesome, honestly.
So I want to know, like, at what point did the adrenaline rush wear off and you guys just totally crashed?
Um,
I don't know if it's even worn off yet.
No,
Like
still
we
Still
just
still
going.
rolling.
still go. Like
Nice.
we had a few interviews and all that, and then the big announcement. I don't know if you guys have heard, but we're going to the Masters,
No
right?
way, fellas.
Oh, no way.
Unreal. Are you gonna have real shirts this time?
No.
Well,
No.
yeah.
We just kind of edited our other ones. We wrote on Ontario Boys X Masters.
We
So
might have to get some green jackets though. We'll see what
Oh,
happens.
that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good idea.
that's a good idea, Patty.
I was gonna say you might need to get yellow t-shirts this time and write it on something that's a little more fitting with Augusta colors. That's gonna be a heck of a trip. Has anyone ever been down there before?
No,
No,
it's been a dream.
Patty.
Oh, actually, yeah. So when I was younger, we did like a 4-month camping trip across the states. So we kind of hit like pretty much every state, and we stopped at the Masters. And there's like a picture of me just standing outside holding onto the fence, just looking at Augusta.
We're gonna
So
root
I might have to
Yeah,
recreate
you
the
have
picture.
to.
100%.
Yeah.
for it.
So
So
that's
where'd
cool.
that
Are you guys?
invitation come from?
Yeah, and are you guys driving?
Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah.
pretty wild. We got a message from Ryan, I think a couple days ago, saying boys, all it was boys, period. it's not over, period.
Yes.
So then we were at
Yes.
practice at the time. We're like, what could this be? What could this be? We called him instantly. He's like, hey guys, I just got a text from Corey Connors saying, hey, I'm a little late to the party, but I have some tickets for the Monday, Tuesday practice rounds at the Masters if the Ontario boys are interested.
No way,
Oh
fellas.
my God.
We're like, it's
Insane.
unbelievable. Like,
Good for him. That's awesome. What a
I'm
move.
I'm literally in class listening to this phone call. Like my professor's speaking in front of me. I got it to my ear. And I'm like, what am I doing in class right now? Like I'm going to the Masters in a week. I can't keep this smile off my face. The professor's like, why are you so happy learning about, equine management, whatever the heck we were like talking about? That was pretty funny.
That's
That's
insane.
really great to hear that you guys are continuing on and the story keeps going. It's, you
oh,
guys you're still young in your careers, so who knows where this might take you.
I
yeah, like
know.
honestly, totally unbelievable. And the timing couldn't have worked. Like we keep saying this whole thing's like a dream. Like because everything just keeps working out timing wise. Like I have my exams start on the 12th and then we're going the 7th, 8th, or the 6th, 7th. And I'm like, I'll just start studying now. I'll do whatever I can. Like it's not interfering with my exams at all, kind of. So it's
Yeah.
just perfect. Like,
You'll
I
have a
got
good
I got
15, 16 hours of study in the car. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
exactly,
There you go.
exactly, right?
I got a little unlucky with my exam schedule because we're gonna watch the 7th and the 8th, which is the Monday, Tuesday, and then I have two exams on the Wednesday.
Oof.
So I'm kind of just trying to work through like if there's any way to get those deferred or because like there's no way I'm missing the Masters, so that might have to be a zero if it's not a deferred exam.
Yeah, hopefully those
Yes, I
professors are
know.
golf fans. They'll
Yeah,
understand.
I'm praying.
I was curious, just I mean, being a turf podcast, obviously superintendents are kind of our core audience here. Do you guys have any experience on grounds crews or interactions with that side of the business?
I worked in turf for 2 months. So I in my summer jobs I teach golf and do golf camps and all that. But May and June a couple years ago I did turf maintenance for Hidden Lake Golf Club. I don't know if you guys know where that is.
Hmm.
Um, Honestly, I really like the job because you're up early and you end early, right? So you still have time after to go golf, and of course you're working on a golf course, so you get that free membership. But I will say the toughest thing about being in the turf industry is just that wake up at 4 o'clock every morning, even on the weekends. Like I think we did 12 days on, 2 days off. Like it is a grind. And he knew I was only there for 2 months, so he gave me the worst shifts, also known as weeding the bunkers
Oh.
and not getting on a mower. So my back was just destroyed from turf. But honestly, like I loved it. It was a great experience and honestly probably one of my favorite jobs I've ever done. So
So I'm from Kingston, and then like I'm not sure my home course is called Cataraqui. So like I knew like how important like superintendents were, but like I don't think I truly understood it until like he was fired around the winter time. So like I think over the winter like they usually like shovel off the greens and like make sure there's no ice and stuff. So like he was fired and then nobody did that. So we opened them up in the spring and then like all of the greens were destroyed for pretty much the first 2 months of the year. So I truly didn't understand before that like how much they really do and just how important they are for the golf course's success.
Yeah, I'd say for me, no experience on turf, but I'm always mindful. Fill my divots, rake the bunkers. Don't want to make the superintendent upset, but I will say I'm a big fan. I'm a big like nature lover. I love all the greenery. So I mean, the whole time I'm on the golf course, I'm not even thinking about golf really. I'm just staring at the grass and the trees and all the well kept stuff. So I definitely appreciate the grounds crew from that perspective.
yeah, I will say one last thing, kind of adding to Patty's point there, but after working in the turf field, like all you want to do is just maintain a golf course after that. Like after you hit a bunker shot, you just want to rake it because you know exactly what the turf maintenance people are gonna, they're gonna complain about it. They'll be like, oh, come on, like fix this divot on the green or wherever. So I
It
think
better not
working
be a
in
divot on a green.
I was gonna
Maybe
say,
a ball
yeah.
mark. I don't know.
oh,
Yeah, yeah.
at
Whoa.
Hidden Lake, there was a few divots on the green. That
Oh
we had to
no.
repair. But trust me, we got some footage, and I think we found them.
Fired
Yeah,
the
there we
guy.
go. There we
But
go. Track them down. Yeah, it gives you a whole new perspective once you kind
but
of
it was
see the work, the time and effort that
it does.
Absolutely.
goes into getting it ready for you guys. And when you guys are out playing, are you thinking at all like how are the turf conditions impacting you as high level players? Are you thinking about the firmness? Are you thinking about the conditions of the golf course as you're making your way around?
Oh, 100%. I'd say especially in when we went to Florida, like we play on I think bent grass, right? And then we go to
Yeah, Bermuda.
Yeah,
it's
Florida's usually
Bermuda
Bermuda
and
or
Florida.
West Palm.
So
Yeah, some.
we weren't really used to that. I was digging in a lot more than usual. But as far as in Canada, like 100%, like even just if you're into the grain with your on your approach shots or whatever, like treating that a little differently or how soft or firm, like I find that's kind of a fun part about golf actually. It's every golf course is different in that perspective. So just I feel like that's a pretty fun thing is how to hit shots into certain greens if they're firm, if they're soft. Like I went out and played in Cabot in
Yeah.
out east, and like those are fescue greens, I'm pretty sure. So even just playing there, like it's a totally different game. So I thought that was kind of fun. You're thinking about shot making every single time, right? So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So what has this experience taught you guys about the golf community?
Like just how gracious and how everyone it's so awesome that everyone shares such a love for the game in golf. Like I don't know, it's something that I played a bunch of sports all growing up, but like golf's something that like I'm I'm addicted to it. I love it. Like I just want everyone to love it. So just seeing like how everyone kind of jumped on our story. We had so many people like commenting, reaching out, being, "Hey, I want to help these guys out," and we're like, we can't be thankful enough for everyone that's just helped us along the way with this experience, and just like again, like how gracious everyone is and how much everyone loves the game and wants to contribute to this story and give other people amazing experiences with golf, right? So just like totally just awesome.
I started my sports career playing hockey for my first 9 or 10 years. And I didn't really get into golf until about grade 9. So I think I was like 14. But ever since I've been in the golf world, like it's honestly nothing's changed. Like everybody's so nice. Everybody loves the sport. They just all you want to do is talk about it. I'm in class, all I'm doing is practicing my swing, right? Like it's an amazing sport, and what this trip, like everybody reaching out, like the golf community is just awesome. Like getting offered to pay for our gas and for our rounds, like we're trying to figure out ways that, how do we contribute back to the golf community now that we've been given all this stuff. So we've been planning some stuff, and hopefully we can release that soon, but nothing's set in stone yet. But we're definitely going to give back to the golf community.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just I'm so grateful for this trip and just for everyone who's helped us along the way. And then like Beck said, I think the biggest thing is for us to give back to the golf community. So obviously we're working through that right now, but we really want to give back and just be thankful for this opportunity.
That was really well said, boys. I think that's a good way or good spot to end it. Unless there's something else you guys want to talk about, if there's a story you guys want to tell or something like that. But everything you guys kind of just said would be a great way to end our chat today.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we'll chat after the Masters.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
might
absolutely.
have to. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I've,
absolutely. We'll have to keep the
I
story
was
going.
Is there anything else, boys? I'm trying to
I
think.
Honestly,
feel
like
like Beck has a funny one. I just can't remember.
that,
it was
I
that
can't.
kind of trip, huh?
Yeah, we got lots of stories, none that we can tell, but
I would love to mention a few, but I have to just text you guys that one.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Offline.
absolutely.
Once you hear Adam turn the recording off, then we can get into the good stuff, right?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
exactly.
Just the experience was insane. I mean, like these are memories that are going to last a lifetime for us, and we can't be thankful enough I mean, Ryan French especially, but just the golf community in general for, supporting our journeys. And, we hope everybody can experience just the lick of what we've experienced in the past couple weeks.
Oh, you guys have done a great job with it. You're very humble, and you're obviously, like you said, you're planning some stuff for the community itself. So, you've done a great job, and it's not over. Augusta, and then to the moon, hopefully, right, boys?
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, we really appreciate you guys coming on and telling your story. I saw it on Twitter and sent it over to Adam for him to take a deep dive into it, because I must have spent an hour at least just sitting there scrolling through all you guys' experiences, and certainly envious. Looks like you guys had an absolute banger of a weekend. So just happy for you guys, and again, just appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us on. It's been a blast. Honestly, I'm probably spending 4 hours on Twitter a day too, and I lived it. So
Yeah.
it's been pretty cool.
So. Yeah, I was thinking that drive home would have been a little entertaining with all the different tweets and pictures and stuff you guys get to see and go through. So,
all right, guys. Well, hey, good luck at nationals, and good luck wrapping up school here in the next couple of weeks.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, and have fun at Augusta. Maybe you get to see the big cat down there. You never know.
You never know.
We'll see.
Never know.
We'll see.
I'll be keeping my eyes open for sure.
Oh yeah, exactly. On the prowl.
I'll just get out there. I'm like, hey Tiger, how do you hit a draw?
Yeah. Well, isn't he hurt? Didn't he get hurt again?
Oh yeah, he tore his Achilles actually.
Yeah, but he'll be there though, won't he?
Out.
He'll be walking around.
Yeah, he'll make it out.
Maybe.
I don't know about
that'd be nice.
maybe karting around. But
maybe,
we'll
John Daly style.
Right.
I think he's got that style.
Yeah,
we're close.
Love it. Awesome,
right, boys.
boys. Well, yeah, thanks again for your time. Good luck to you guys.
Yeah.
Stay in touch.
Turf Today is also brought to you by Apex 10 by Green Nature. And Apex 10 is a peat humic substance tested and proven at universities around the world and in real-world applications to increase plant metabolic performance, stimulate indigenous microbial populations, reduce irrigation, lower fertility inputs, and the product is registered for organic use. Check them out on Instagram at Apex10Life. That is going to do it for us today, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading the show and sharing the show. We couldn't do it without you. We hope you enjoy this week and get inspired and get to hang out with loved ones, eat some food, get some pimento cheese sandwiches going and some pints and all the fun stuff, because this is a kickoff to the golf year for a lot of people. And like Matt Janella said last week, if that doesn't get you going, it's not for you. And the Masters is a big one that gets a lot of people going. So thank you to our sponsors, Toro, Apex 10, the Andersons, and Standard Golf. We'll see everybody next week. Take care and keep those real sharp.